everyone, my name is Nicole, and today I'm going to be guiding you through this power yoga flow. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Coming into a comfortable child's pose at the back of the mat, taking the knees wide, big toes touch, allowing the torso to soften between the space of the thighs. We're extending the arms forward, third rests on the mat. As you begin to settle into this space, try to quiet the mind, letting go of your day, and just putting a pause on your life for the next 60 minutes. We bring our awareness to the breath, noticing if your breath is short and choppy, or maybe it's already running deep. We want to focus on taking nice big belly breaths. Long inhales through the nose, sending the breath through the back of the throat, and exhaling out the nose. We begin to fire up our Ujjayi breath, our victorious breath. We're warming the body from the inside and out. Let's bring some movement into the pose, coming onto the fingertips, tenting the palms. We lift the creases of the wrists and the elbows off the mat. Feeling a nice sensation as we draw the shoulder blades down the spine, pressing the hips onto the heels. On your next inhale, lift the torso, walking the body over to the right, creating a nice stretch along the right side intercostal muscles. We're rolling that top shoulder blade down, drawing the hips back onto the heels. With each inhale, we lengthen through the right side body, feeling the ribcage fan open. And as we exhale, we contract slightly through that right side body. Taking nice deep breaths here, starting to create a nice fluidity in the breath. Maybe you walk the fingertips a little bit more towards the right side. Inhale, lift the torso, coming all the way through center, walking it over to the left, creating that same stretch, this time in the right side body. Connecting to the duality of this pose, movement, pranayama. So with each inhale, we lengthen through the left side and we contract, pulling us deeper into the pose, taking nice deep breaths here. Again, maybe you walk the fingertips a little bit more towards the left. Inhale, we come back to center, child's pose. Taking a moment here to set an intention for your practice. An intention can be a thought, a dedication, a mantra, something that is going to guide you through your practice. Maybe take a moment to ask yourself, what do I need from my practice today? Or maybe you ask yourself, what can I let go of? Tuning into why you showed up on the mat today. Yoga is the practice of moving the body with intention. So as we move through this flow, remember to honor the intention you are setting in this present moment. On your next inhale, take the eye gaze forward, shifting onto hands and knees, finding a nice tabletop position. Let's check our alignment. We want the shoulders stacked over the wrists, the hips over the knees. The spine is long, there's a slight engagement in the core muscles. We'll begin to warm up the spine, taking some cat-cow, starting with toes tucked. On your inhale, allow the belly to drop, lifting the tailbone, lifting the eye gaze. The shoulder blades are drawn down from the ears. We're spreading through the clavicles. As you exhale, untuck the toes, draw navel to spine, round and curl, really pressing into the mat, tucking the chin. Inhale, letting the belly go. Cow pose. Exhale, round and curl, cat. Go ahead and take a few more at your own pace. We are starting to warm up the spine, activating the cardiovascular system, calming the central nervous system. We'll turn this into our dancing lion, just circling out the hips, circling out the shoulders. There's no right or wrong here. Dancing lion is a free body movement. It's a great way to scan the body, to notice any sticky spaces, any tightness or soreness. Bringing awareness to any areas of the body you might want to send some extra attention today. Sending our breath throughout the body, oxygenating the muscles. We'll find a neutral tabletop. Go ahead and extend the right arm forward, palm faces up. Take a nice inhale, and as you exhale, drag the arm back up and around, creating nice circular rotations in that right shoulder. Notice that we're getting the whole body involved, shifting the hips forward. This core is engaging slightly. Take your rotations in the opposite direction. We're getting the synovial fluid going in the joints, lubricating our muscles, our joints for the practice. On your next inhale, reach that right arm high to the sky, the shoulder blades kiss. And as you exhale, thread your needle, threading the right arm under and through the body, the top of the right shoulder on the mat. That left hand can extend forward as a kickstand, or maybe you take a bind behind the back, tucking the hand into the right hip crease. We're focusing on twisting from the upper and middle thoracic spine here with the ultimate goal of getting the back of the skull on the mat. Breathing through this twist, we're wringing out the organs, aiding in digestion, detoxifying the body. This is a really great twist because we're allowed to shift in the hips here. There's not a lot of gravity, so you can really turn the torso, shining the heart towards the sky. Breathing here. We'll unwind the pose by planting the left hand in the mat. Counter twist, where you reach that right arm back and up. Let it go, tabletop. Moving into the left side, extend the left arm forward, palm faces up. Nice big inhale, and exhale the arm back up and around, creating those same circular rotations, really opening up that left side body. We're opening up the shoulder, the pectoral muscles, the low back. Again, getting those hips involved. And we'll go ahead and reverse the direction. On your next inhale, we reach that left arm all the way up. And exhale, thread your needle, the top of the left shoulder on the mat, creating that same nice twist in the spine. If you took a bind on the first side, go ahead and take one on the left side. Breathing into this twist. We want to make a conscious effort to shift those hips forward to feel a nice pressure on the top of the shoulder. Nice massage in the rotator cuff. Release, planting that right hand on the mat. We counter the pose, reaching the left arm back and up. And let it go, tabletop. Spread the fingertips nice and wide, really grounding the hands into the mat. We're gonna tuck the toes, and as you inhale, lift the knees about an inch off of the mat. Getting the shins parallel to the mat, we're firing up the abdominal muscles, wrapping the rib cage in. You wanna hug muscle to bone here. And we'll find a release by lifting the hips back and up, pressing into our first downward facing dog. Go ahead and walk the hands slightly forward, the feet slightly back. We have a nice upside down V shape with the body. The spine is long, the neck hangs heavy. We do want to be conscious that the shoulders, the elbows, and the wrists are not weight-bearing joints. So we want to focus on pressing our weight into the back body, into the heels. Go ahead and walk your dog here, pedaling out the feet. Bend and straighten into the legs. Just exploring this space. Noticing the sensations in the legs, the hamstrings are starting to warm up. On your next inhale, reach that right leg high to the sky, coming into our three-legged dog. We're opening up the hip here, so focus on stacking the right hip on top of the left and go ahead and bend and straighten the leg. Maybe take some nice rotations, really just exploring the hip. We want to make a conscious effort to square the torso towards the mat. We don't want to overexpose that left shoulder or wrist. Breathing here, see if you can reach the right leg a little bit higher. And we're gonna bring our knee to nose. So slowly bring your eye gaze forward. We shift forward, round and curl, drawing knee to nose. We wanna focus on pulling the knee in rather than bringing the nose to the knee. Holding here, pressing into the floor, firing up the quad muscle. Inhale, sweep it back and up. We're gonna take two more. Inhale, elevate the pose, and exhale, draw right knee to right tricep, hold. High on the ball of the back toes. Breathing here, we don't want to hold our breath. Inhale, shoot the leg back and up. Last one, we shift our weight forward, this time drawing right knee to left tricep. Holding here, embracing the shake, and sweep it back and up, three-legged dog. So in this three-legged dog, we're gonna close off the hip. So in order to do that, we're gonna bring the right hip in line with the left. We're gonna inner spiral that lifted leg and flex the back foot, almost like you're stomping your footprint on the back wall. We notice a different sensation when we do this, noticing that sensation along the edge of the left leg. We're working into the IT band here. Inhale, elevate the pose, look forward and step forward, coming into your lunge pose. Just checking your alignment here. You want a 90-degree angle with that front knee, a nice strong leg. Engaging the core, we're high in the ball of the back toes. Inhale, press down to lift up, grounding in the floor. We rise into our high crescent lunge, lengthening through the sides of the body. There's a slight tuck in the tailbone here, so it's okay if that back knee bends just a little bit. We're focusing on pulling the front body back, beginning to fire up the bigger muscles in the body, the glutes and the quads. Lift the gaze and just connect to your breath. We're gonna hinge forward halfway, coming into our half crescent lunge. There's a slight lift in the spine here. We wanna stabilize the pelvis, stabilize the sacrum, protecting the low body. Reaching out almost like you're grabbing an imaginary beach ball. Slowly float that left hand towards the mat, reaching the right arm up, coming into our lunge twist. Twisting from the upper and middle spine, keeping the hips squared off. We're keeping a nice active back by bringing the shoulder blades to touch. It's really important because we want to use the muscles to facilitate this twist. We don't want to just rely on the joints. Breathing here. And we'll counter the pose, this time bringing the right hand inside of the right foot and extending that left arm up. Noticing the legs engaging here to help stabilize you. Nice, strong, lifted back leg. And we'll let it go, bringing both hands inside of the foot and just walking it all the way over to the left, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. We have that nice wide stance. The feet are slightly pigeon-toed. Go ahead and inhale your hands to hips. We rise to standing with a flat spine. We're gonna interlace the fingers at the low back. As you inhale, we roll the shoulders up, back and down, drawing the knuckles towards the mat. Breathing here as we shine the chest. And as you exhale, we fold forward, allowing the knuckles to fall away from the low back and reaching towards the mat. You can bend into the knees a little bit here. We're really focusing on the shoulders in this space. The more we bend into the knees, the more we're going to decongest that low back. A few more nice deep breaths. And we'll let it go, walking back over towards the right, coming into that lunge pose. So we're gonna step the right foot back to meet the left, coming into our plank pose. We're holding here for just a minute. Plank pose is our full body integration pose. We're working all the muscles from head to toe. So really press into the floor, engaging the core muscles, wrapping the rib cage in. We're using those leg muscles to take a little bit of pressure off of the core. The hips are nice and lifted. We're gonna move through our first vinyasa, so you have the option to modify by dropping onto the knees. I'm gonna do that to demonstrate this first vinyasa. So as you inhale, we shift the weight forward. Notice how my shoulders are extending further than my wrists. As you exhale, lower down halfway and hold chaturanga, low push-up. The elbows are tucked close to the body. The shoulders are facing forward. We're not dipping down or up. As you inhale, we pull the upper body through, coming into our cobra or upward facing dog. So cobra, we leave the thighs on the mat. For upward facing dog, we lift the thighs, leaving 2 points of contact on the mat. Drawing the shoulders away from the ears, we spread open the chest. And exhale, roll over the toes, pressing back into your downward facing dog. Feel free to customize your own vinyasa. This is your practice, so really listen to what your body is telling you today. Remember that each and every day is different, which is why we don't come onto the mat with any expectations. You are in control of your own intensity dial, so you decide when you want to turn it up or turn it down. A few breaths in your downward facing dog, just taking a moment to gather your thoughts, gather your breath. And take a nice big inhale, sweeping that left leg high to the sky, opening up the hip here. We bend and straighten the leg, circling open the hip. Again, focusing on squaring the torso towards the ground, not putting too much pressure in the right shoulder or wrist. On your next inhale, we lift high on the ball of the back toes. And as you exhale, we draw knee to nose under the body, round and curl, puffing up the spine, lifting those hips. Inhale, we shoot the leg back and up. 2 more, inhale, high on those toes. Exhale, drawing left knee to left tricep, holding here, engaging the core muscles, and inhale, sweep it back and up. Last time, inhale, elevate the pose, and exhale, draw left knee to right tricep, twisting under the body. Inhale, we shoot the leg back and up. This time, closing off that hip, corkscrewing that lifted leg. Breathing here, feeling that nice sensation along the outer edge of the right leg. Breathing here for just a moment. Then inhale high on the toes, look forward, step forward into your lunge pose. We're going to press down to lift up, rising into our high crescent lunge, lengthening through the sides of the body, lifting the eye gaze. Again, keeping that nice tuck in the tailbone, focus on pulling the front body back. Breathing here. Nice strong legs. And we'll hinge at the hips, lowering down halfway and hold. Coming into that half crescent lunge. Breathing here, engaging the core. Remember, keeping that nice lift in the spine just to protect the low body here. We don't want to sink into the pelvic floor. We slowly release the right hand towards the mat, reaching that left arm up. Coming into our lunge twist. Again, focusing on that twist in the upper middle thoracic spine. Trying to keep the hips as square as possible here. And just breathing into this twist. We'll reverse pose, drawing the left hand down, reaching the right arm high to the sky. Reverse lunge twist. Breathing here, nice strong back leg. Notice how high on the ball of the back foot I am. This is really engaging the leg muscles and helping to stabilize this pose. We'll let it go. We're gonna walk all the way over to the right, coming into that wide-legged fold. I'm just gonna turn this way. So in this wide-legged forward fold, we're focusing on a hamstring stretch. Last time we focused on the shoulder stretch. Go ahead and take peace sign and grab your big toes. Inhale, we look out and lengthen halfway, keeping a nice flat spine. And as you exhale, allow the chest to come close to the thighs, bending into the elbows, feeling the nice stretch along the back of the legs. We're drawing the crown of the head towards the mat. Again, trying to keep a nice flat spine. Breathing here. Allowing the back of the legs to respond, to open up. A few more deep breaths. See if you can bring yourself a little bit deeper into this space. And let it go, walking back over towards the left, coming back into your lunge pose. Left foot steps back to meet the right, high plank position. So we're moving through a vinyasa. This time I'm keeping a lifted plank. So inhale, shift your weight forward, coming high on the toes. Exhale, bend into the elbows, lowering down halfway, holding here. Inhale, pulling the upper body through, coming into your upward facing dog or cobra pose, opening up the spine. And exhale, rolling over the toes, getting that nice toe stretch. And we press back, downward facing dog. Taking some time here just to reconnect to the breath, reconnect to your intention. Nice long inhales through the nose. Nice quality exhales out the nose. Maintaining that nice Ujjayi breath. On your next inhale, take the eye gaze to the top of the mat, walking feet to meet the hands, coming into a forward fold. So the feet are hips width distance, so take two fists and place them between the feet. That's the distance that you want your feet to be. We're just gonna hang heavy here, allowing the fingertips to touch the mat, maybe bend into the knees. And on your next inhale, we lift onto fingertips, maybe slide the hands up the shins to maintain that flat spine. We look out and lengthen, and exhale, we forward fold. Taking two more. Inhale, look out and lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Last one, inhale, look out and lengthen, keeping that nice flat spine. Exhale, forward fold. We're gonna roll up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. Rolling our shoulders up, back and down at the top of the mat. Coming into our mountain pose. Bring the toes to touch. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead, biceps frame the ears, lifting the gaze. We're grounding through the feet, lengthening through the sides of the body. We're drawing the shoulders away from the ears, breathing here. Let's go ahead and take a slight back bend here. So as you inhale, begin to shift your hips forward, arching the spine back. We want to keep the core engaged here in order to protect the spine, working those hips forward to help facilitate this back bend. One more breath, and inhale, come back to standing. Let's go ahead and take a side bend. Now we're gonna grab the left wrist with the right hand. As we inhale, lift through the sides of the body, And as you exhale, we lean over to the right. Notice that I'm shifting my hips to the left. We want to work those hips in the opposite direction of our bend in order to facilitate that nice C curve in the spine. Go ahead and lift the eye gaze. Breathing here again, engaging the core. We always want to protect the spine. Lifting back to center, go ahead and switch your grip. Inhale, we lift and lengthen. Exhale, taking it over towards the left. Those hips shift over to the right. Breathing here. Feeling that nice opening in the right side body. Coming back to center, swan dive, forward fold. Planting the hands on the mat, you have the option to walk, step, or float into plank, and we'll move through a vinyasa at our own pace. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Breathing here. Again, returning to the breath, returning to that intention. On your next inhale, extend the right leg high to the sky. Take the eye gaze forward and step it through. Lunge pose, we've been here before. From here, we're gonna cartwheel open into our warrior two. Checking our alignment here, we have a nice 90-degree angle with the front foot, 45-degree angle with the back foot. We're gripping through the outer blade edge. The body is squared to the left. Nice, strong arms, the shoulder blades touch. The eye gaze goes through the fingertips, holding here. See if you can keep that thigh parallel to the mat. We'll find our pumping warrior. So as you inhale, we straighten into the front leg, lifting through the sides of the body. Exhale, warrior two. Two more. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, warrior two. Flip that front palm. We reach forward, reach, reach, reach. And then we exalt the pose, reaching the right arm back, up and over. We're sliding the left hand down the left leg. Maybe you take a bind, interlacing the fingers at the right hip crease. We're lengthening through the right side body. We're focusing on shining the chest towards the sky. Take a moment to look at your front knee. In this pose, we have a tendency to pull out of the knee just a little bit. So continue to track that right knee forward. Maintaining that nice 90-degree angle. Coming back to our warrior two. Bending that front arm, place the right elbow on top of the right knee, reaching the left arm high to the sky. Coming into our extended side angle. We want to focus on rolling that right hip under and lifting the chest towards the sky, peeling the left side body open. Imagine that you're stuck between two panes of glass. We don't want to dip the chest forward, and we also don't want the bottom to be pushed out. Breathing here. If you're feeling good in the groin, you can start to work your right hand towards the mat. There's also the option to use a block. If you don't have a block, you can use anything that will just lift the ground closer to you. This is a great way to help facilitate a pose to get a little bit deeper, but also staying lifted. Breathing here. Again, pulling that front body back, tucking the tailbone under. And we'll let it go, taking both hands on the inside of the foot. We're swiveling on the back of the left leg, coming into a plank pose. Go ahead and walk that right foot out, drop the knee, sliding it back just a little bit. We're coming into low lizard lunge, so we have a few options from here. You can keep the right knee hugging into the right tricep. You're gonna feel a stretch along the front of the hip flexor on that left leg. If you want more of an external hip flexor stretch, walk the right foot out just a little bit more, rolling on the blade edge of the foot, and allow the knee to splay open. You're gonna feel a little bit more in the hip crease on the right side as well as that left front hip flexor. You have the option to stay lifted, or maybe you work your forearms towards the ground, allowing the hips to fall towards the mat. Again, if your hips are a little bit more tight, you can use a block, maybe a textbook, anything that you have. And again, bring the ground closer to you, resting the forearms on the block. Holding here, we want to take nice deep breaths. We have a tendency in poses like this, we're expressing the hips, we're opening them up. So we have a tendency to fidget because the hips carry and hold a lot of tension, stress, and emotion, especially in women. So this pose can be very confrontational to some. So just remember that no feeling is final, and just try to bring your awareness back to your breath and back to the intention that you set at the beginning of practice. We want to be passionate and compassionate with our bodies in poses like this. Holding here for a few more breaths. And then we'll lift back onto the hands if you lowered down. We're gonna walk the right foot in, lifting into our lunge pose. Right foot steps back to meet the left, plank pose. Inhale, shifting the weight forward. Exhale, lower down halfway, chaturanga, hold. Inhale, we pull the body through, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Go ahead and drop onto the knees here, sitting back into your downward or your child's pose. This is a good time to get some water, maybe wipe down. Just reconnecting with the breath here. When you're ready, we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Continuing those nice deep breaths. We'll move into the other side. Inhale, sweep that left leg high to the sky. Look forward, step forward, lunge pose. I'm gonna do it this side. So from our lunge pose, we're cartwheeling open into that warrior two, keeping that nice wide stance, 90-degree angle, 45-degree angle. Nice strong arms, eye gaze through the fingertips. Holding here, maintaining that nice parallel thigh. And we'll pump our warriors. Inhale, lifting and lengthening through the side body. Exhale, warrior two. Two more, inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, warrior two. Last one, inhale, lift and lengthen. Straightening that front knee. Exhale, warrior two. Flipping that front palm, we shift our weight forward, reaching, and lift back and up, exalting the pose. Reverse warrior two, sliding that right hand down the back leg. Focusing on shining the heart towards the sky. Breathing here. Again, making that conscious effort to keep tracking the front knee forward, creating a nice parallel thigh, nice 90-degree angle. Return to your warrior two, coming into that extended side angle. The forearm rests on the front thigh. Working the right hand towards the sky. Focus on rolling the hip under. Lifting the gaze and just breathing here, feeling the nice opening in the pelvic floor and the groin muscles. Again, maybe you work your way down to the mat with that left hand. We do want to keep lifted here. We definitely don't want to start sinking into the hips. Continue to grip in the outer blade edge of the right foot. Let it go. Reaching that right hand down. We're pivoting on the ball of the back foot. Coming into low lizard lunge, dropping the knee. Again, taking whichever variation you took on the opposite side, whether you hugged the knee in or you allowed it to splay open. Again, just working the hips towards the mat, breathing through any discomfort, breathing through any sensations. Focus on sending your breath to these sticky spaces, oxygenating the muscles. A few more deep breaths, being patient as our body responds to the work that we are doing. Again, being compassionate for where we are in this present moment. Lifting on to the hands, walking that left foot in, hands frame the foot. Left foot steps back to meet the right, plank pose. Inhale, shifting the weight forward. Exhale, lower down halfway. Inhale, pulling the body through. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing here. We're gonna walk the hands back to meet the feet at the back of the mat. Taking a forward fold here. You can keep the feet hips width distance, again, those 2 fist distance. And you're gonna slide the palms underneath the hands so the toes come in line with the wrist crease. Inhale, we look out and lengthen with a flat spine. And as you exhale, bend into the elbows, drawing the torso onto the thighs. Maybe bend into the knees a little bit. We should be feeling a nice stretch along the wrist crease, the elbow crease, drawing the crown of the head towards the mat. The hamstrings are a little bit more loose at this point of practice. And we'll let it go. We're gonna widen our stance just a little bit, turning the toes out and just dropping the bottom, coming into a squat. So this is our yogi squat. We're gonna bring hands to heart center, using the elbows to push the knees open. We're allowing the hips to lower towards the mat. Breathing here. So if you have tighter hips, you might be lifted. Again, you can take a block, maybe even a pillow, and just sit your bottom. That's gonna help facilitate this pose, make it a little bit more accessible to those of us who have a little bit tighter hips. We all have different levels of flexibility, so remember to just tune into what your body is telling you in this present moment. We're gonna take a slight twist here, so reaching that right hand towards the mat. Inhale, extend the left arm high to the sky, twisting through the upper middle back. Again, this is one of those poses where we don't have a lot of gravity, so we can really twist in this space. Breathing here. And we're gonna switch, bringing that left hand down, reaching the right arm up. Finding that nice equilibrium in the body, balancing out both sides. We'll let it go, planting the hands on the mat, and just straighten the legs, maybe shake them out a little bit, coming back into that forward fold. Just go ahead and walk the hands forward, coming back into that down dog. You have the option to take a vinyasa here, again, meeting back in down dog, just going at your own pace. Go ahead and inhale that right leg high to the sky, take the eye gaze forward, step the hand through, lunge pose. Cartwheel open, warrior 2, we've been here before and we're not staying here long. Go ahead and straighten into the front leg, we're shortening the stance. We're gonna shift the weight into that left hip just a little bit, moving into Trigonometry triangle pose. Shifting the weight forward, reaching as much as possible, then slowly windmilling the hands. The right hand comes down to the shin, foot, or floor. Again, you have the option to use a block. We're peeling that left body open, peeling the shoulder open, focusing on wrapping the right rib cage down, pulling the left rib cage open. Breathing here. Again, this is another one of those poses. We want to imagine we're between two panes of glasses, so we want to tuck the tailbone under, pulling the chest back. Breathing here. And we'll come up to standing. We're just going to square ourselves towards the front of the mat, adjusting our stance. Keeping those nice airplane arms. Take a nice big inhale, and as you exhale, swing the left arm underneath the right, binding at the elbows, maybe binding at the hands if that's accessible to you. Slowly begin to shift your weight into that left foot and lift the left leg off of the mat. We're going to swing the left leg around the right, hooking at the knees. Maybe you can hook at the ankles. Eagle pose. We want to focus on squaring the body here, so we're drawing the right shoulder down in line with the left, pulling the left hip down. So right now we're working both hemispheres of the brain, so it's normal to feel wobbly here. You may even fall out. Falling is part of the practice. It happens. And if it does, just go ahead and get back into the pose and try again. That's what's most important. We're going to unwind the feet. And like a pendulum, we're lifting the left leg up and lowering the front body down. Go ahead and unwind the arms, reaching them out like an airplane, coming into warrior 3. Slight lift in the chest. We don't want to dip down. Breathing here, nice, strong, supporting leg. Again, if you fall out, just get back in. We're gonna open up into our half moon. So we're basically twisting towards the left side, stacking the left hip on top of the right. We work the right hand towards the mat, reaching the left arm up. I like using a block here just to keep lifted, and then I can slowly lift that hand. We're flexing that lifted leg. That's going to engage the left leg, giving us more balance in this pose. If you're feeling ready, maybe you can start to work the right hand to heart center. Let it go, taking both hands to the floor. Draw the left knee to nose and step it down. Inhale that right leg up, coming into our standing split. So opening up the hip here, reaching that right leg up, starting to work the hands towards the feet. If you have balance here, maybe try to grab the ankle of the left foot, one hand at a time. The crown of the head works to the mat. Finding that nice release in that right leg. Go ahead and plant both hands on the mat. We're coming to a seated position. So all we're gonna do is bend into both knees and sit the right leg behind the left. So for this seated twist, we have the left leg over the right. Inhale the arms overhead, and exhale, twist over towards the left side, hooking the right elbow outside of the left knee. The left arm is at the base of the spine. We're twisting to the left, taking the eye gaze over the left shoulder, breathing here. A lot of twisting in the spine today. Calming that central nervous system. And we're gonna release and counter the pose by bowing over towards the right. That's just gonna release the spine. So from here, swing that right leg open. We're coming into a straddle fold. Slowly start to work the hands forward, lowering the torso to the mat. Again, being patient with your body. And just breathing here, allowing the hips to open. Nice deep breaths. Again, breathing through the discomfort. Try not to fidget here. Holding for one more breath. And then we'll lift it up. Swinging that right leg back to the top of the mat. And we're going to interlace at the ankles, rocking forward, and just jump or walk back into your plank pose, moving through a vinyasa. Lowering down halfway. Inhale, coming through upward or cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Moving right into that left side. This is the last part of the flow before we move on to the mat. Taking a moment to thank yourself for all the effort that you put in so far. And we inhale that left leg up, step it through, lunge pose, cartwheeling open, warrior two. Straighten that front leg, adjust your stance, shift the weight forward, sitting a little bit into that right hip, and then windmill open into your Trigonometry triangle pose. Pulling the front body back, rolling the hips under, breathing here. Last breath here. Then we'll lift up, squaring our body towards the front of the mat. Swinging that right arm underneath the left, binding at the elbows, maybe the wrists. Bring your weight into the left foot and swing that right leg up and over, hooking at the knees, maybe hooking at the ankles. We want a nice flat spine here, sitting low but peeling the front body back. Imagine that you are sliding down an imaginary wall, bending into the knees more to facilitate that second bind in the legs. Nice deep breaths. Go ahead and unwind the legs, lifting that right leg back and up, lowering the torso down, coming into our warrior three. When you're ready, open up the arms, nice airplane arms. Lowering the chest down, lifting the leg. Breathing here, keeping a nice, strong left leg. We're gonna open up into our half moon pose on the other side. So just circling that left hand towards the mat, reaching the right arm up, rolling the right hip on top of the left. That left leg is burning. You've earned that burn. We're gonna find some release soon. Maybe lift off of the fingertips. See if you can work the hands to heart center. All right, let it go. Bringing both hands to the mat, tucking right knee to nose. Step the right foot down. Inhale, we sweep the left leg up, standing split pose, walking the hands back, maybe cupping at the ankles, allowing the crown of the head to release to the mat. Opening up the hip here. We're gonna come back into that seated twist. So this time we're sitting the left leg behind the right. Inhale the arms overhead, twisting to the right, hooking the left arm outside of the right knee. Right hand at the tailbone, taking the eye gaze over the right shoulder. Breathing here. See if you can twist just a little bit more. And we'll counter the pose, bowing over to the left. just balancing out the spine, releasing that low back. So from here, we are going to swing the legs open again, but we're gonna come onto the knees and come onto the forearms. So we're coming into frog pose. So we're going to bring the knees out in line with the hips. This is a very intense hip flexor stretch, and the heels are directly in line with the knees. We're working on bringing the hips towards the mat, lowering down, and breathing here. We're strengthening the pelvic floor, opening up the groin muscles, opening up the hips, getting a nice release in the body. Breathing here again, breathing through any sensations, breathing through any discomfort that you may feel. Holding here for a few more breaths. And we're gonna slowly come out of this pose. There really is no graceful way to do this. So just lift onto the hands, pose off the legs, and we're gonna sit back on the legs, or back on the bottom, extending the legs forward, coming into our seated staff pose. The legs are nice and long. We're flexing the feet. We have that long, flat spine. We want the tailbone to touch the mat, so maybe pull some flesh from under you, and we inhale the arms overhead, lengthen through the sides of the body, and then we begin to reach forward as we fold. So the key here is to keep a flat spine. We don't want to curl the spine and hunch over. Something I like to do is grab the blade edge of my feet and I glue my torso to the thighs. Then I begin to slowly straighten into the legs. This helps me maintain a flat spine here. Breathing here. Sending that breath to the sticky spaces of the body. Breathing and working through that discomfort. That's where all the progress happens. It's where we gain our flexibility, where we gain our strength, mentally and physically, is pushing through that discomfort, those feelings that may arise in these types of poses. So we're gonna roll the body all the way up, reaching the arms forward, and we're going to float the legs up, coming into bow pose, just getting some nice core cultivation at the end of class. You can stay here, keeping the legs bent for a little more of a challenge. See if you can straighten into the legs, holding here for 5 deep breaths. Those legs are gonna start shaking. Nice deep breaths here, holding for a little longer, embracing that shake, embracing that burn. We are almost done. From here, see if you can open up into your canoe pose, extending the arms back, lengthening the legs, lowering them towards the mat. Holding here, breathing, engaging the core. And then let it go, coming into your corpse pose. Just taking one moment here. A nice deep breath. And then inhale, hug the knees into the chest. Maybe rocking from side to side. Massaging the low back, releasing the low back after that core cultivation. And then grab the outer blade edges of the feet, opening up the knees, drawing them to the mat, coming into your happy baby. Maybe rocking from side to side. Maybe you want to straighten into the legs, coming into a straddle. This should feel really good as we work the knees to the mat. Let it go, hugging those knees back into the chest. Take a nice big inhale, and as you exhale, release that left leg, extending it out in front of you, keeping that right knee hugged into the chest. Inhale, squeeze just a little bit more. And as you exhale, we're going to take that right knee over to the left, shifting the hips over to the right. Reaching the right hand out, eye gaze follows. A nice belly twist at the end of practice. Again, just wringing out the internal organs, aiding in digestion, detoxifying the body. Release back to center, hugging both knees into chest. Nice big inhale, and exhale, release the right leg forward, hugging the left knee into the chest. Inhale, we squeeze, and then as you exhale, take the left knee over to the left, over to the right, shift the hips to the left. Reaching that left arm out to the left side of the room. The eye gaze follows. Come back to center, hugging both knees in. And we're just gonna extend the legs up to the sky, flexing the feet, keeping the legs nice and straight. This is our legs up the wall pose. It doesn't seem like much, but this pose is really great for you. We're allowing the blood to flow to the brain, sending a nice fresh blood supply throughout the body, helping to rejuvenate the muscles. Holding here for a few more breaths, allowing gravity to do its job. And then let it go, lowering the legs. Coming into your final Shavasana, just relaxing the body, allowing the feet to splay open, the palms face up. Relaxing the face, relaxing the jaw, and just settling into this final resting space. Oftentimes we come into this practice with a very busy mind. We have a lot going on. And sometimes it can be hard to find the time to release and relax and just disconnect. So give yourself these last few minutes the time to rest and fully disconnect here. Starting to bring some movement back into the body, wiggling out the fingers, wiggling out the toes, inhaling the arms overhead like a nice good morning stretch. Of course, if you need to, you can stay in your final Shavasana or roll over to your right side, coming into a fetal position, using that bicep as a pillow. Slowly making your way into a seated position, resting the palms on the knees, palms facing down for more grounding energy, or palms facing up for more receiving energy. Closing the eyes here. And just take a moment to thank yourself for showing up on the mat today. Thank yourself for making a healthy choice for your day. You are healthier now than you were an hour ago. And thank you so much for joining me. From my heart to yours, namaste.